So today you are in session 7, engaging students using Zoom tools. I'm going to hand it off to our friend Meredith Monroe. Meredith is a teacher and she works for Las Cruces Public Schools. She's been an educator for 21 years. It's wonderful, and works with gifted students. So she'll tell us all about herself, and we're going to be thinking and talking about engaging students using online tools and Zoom tools and things like that. So take it away, Meredith.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate that you guys are all interested in this. I hope that you find some good ideas from this session. So like she said, my name is Meredith Monroe. I've been with the Las Cruces Public Schools for about 17 years, been teaching for about 21 years. I've taught everything from kindergarten up through middle school. And then the last 10 to 15 years have mainly been with gifted students, so at the elementary level. So that's kind of where I am, and currently am teaching. So I'm right there in this virtual learning with you. So these are kind of some things that I have developed and used and kind of taken from different people here and there, ways to keep my kids engaged. We know that being online and virtual, it's easy for them to zone out, to not be able to focus. So some of these games and things like that I'm going to show you are ways that you can keep your kids engaged. We know that they're going to need brain breaks. We know that we can engage them and motivate them through things like Fun Friday activities. So these are all different things that you can find to use in any way that, works for you. What I'm going to ask is that, just like when we tell our kids, the more that they participate, the more that they're going to actually get out of the session. And so some of them are definitely going to require you guys to turn on your camera so that we can participate in it together. Some of them, we don't necessarily have to have our cameras on. The first one that I usually will do with my kids is we'll play Pictionary. Good old-fashioned Pictionary, just like you guys have always played. So I'll show you different ways that we can do that using the Zoom tools. So I think that you should all know we have whiteboard capabilities using Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing just a plain whiteboard with you. What I will do is Pictionary, and so I do it kind of two different ways. Sometimes I'll do it based on like a unit or a theme that we're studying. Sometimes I'll do it based on, a holiday or a season. I also teach an after-school program where we do a lot of art projects and we study about a particular artist. And so with that, I will try to say, okay, let's focus on this particular artist. Or let's say in science, we're learning about, right now, my 5th graders are doing severe weather. So we'll play Pictionary based on those things. So what I do is I pull up my whiteboard. All of the kids, at this point in time, they know how to use the annotate tools. And so then I'll give them a topic or a theme. Like I said, holiday, content area, or some days we just play random if we're doing like a Fun Friday. So let's say that I'm doing it content related, and I said that we're going to be studying severe weather. So we're going to focus our Pictionary game on severe weather. So then what I do is I just ask for volunteers. So any of you guys interested in being the artist for us in our Pictionary game today? We'll all go first and break the ice for us all. So what I do is then I would just use my annotate tool. And I let the kids, this is their time when I let them all be on unmute so they can all just start guessing. And so I'm going to start drawing, and then you guys can start guessing.
Tornado.
Yes. And so then usually whichever kid gets it, they get to draw the next one. And so I'll either ask them, do you guys have an idea of something you would like to draw? And if they say yes, then I let them go. And I tell them that if they come up with their own, then I get to guess too. And they like when you as the teacher gets involved and plays with them instead of just facilitating it. They like you to get in and guess as well. So now do I have a volunteer that would like to draw? Erica, will you help us? Will you be able to draw for us?
I thought you were going to tell me I can volunteer somebody. I would be happy to do that too. I was going to say, Trisha. No. I can draw something for sure.
Okay. So then what I do is I just use the chat function, and then I send her a direct message telling her to draw, and then she gets the direct message, and then she can start to draw. And then what I'll do is if the kids start to struggle, they can't think of an idea, then I can send them that direct message as well, so that then they can start to draw that idea if you're stuck. Snow, yep, exactly. So like I said, this can be content related, or you can make it totally fun related to just a season or a holiday. So Pictionary is a fun one. Doesn't have to take very long. Another idea that I do with it is if you have like a student of the day or student of the week, maybe you just play it 1 or 2 rounds and let that student draw something and the rest of the class guesses. So that's Pictionary. So this next one, you are all going to get to turn off your cameras, and we are going to use the renaming tool in Zoom. And so you are going to pick a letter, any letter you want, and you're going to rename yourself to just that letter. You can stop your video, and then rename yourself just with a letter. And some of you and some of the students have like a picture that shows up when you turn your camera off. That's okay, because we can still see your letter in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So this is Boggle. And in Boggle, what you do is you try to come up with as many words as you can using the letters that are on the screen. And so one of the things that I do with the kids is, I make sure that we have some vowels in there, which right now I see we have 1. Can we get a few more people to rename yourself? So there's 2 ways that you can rename yourself. You can go to the list of participants, find yourself, and then you can click on your name, and then it should give you some options. And one of those options will be to rename yourself. It'll say more. And then go ahead and rename yourself.
Make sure you turn off your video so that we can see your letter.
Yeah, and then go ahead at the same time and click stop my video. So there's 2 ways you can do it, is the participants, or in the top right-hand corner of your picture screen, if you click the 3 dots, you can click stop my video, and then you can also click to rename yourself. And so you're just picking a letter, 1 letter, any letter you want. It can be the first letter of your name, your last name. It can be whatever you want. All right, so we have, most people have at least 1 letter. We have a couple of vowels in there. And so what I do is I give them anywhere from a minute to 2 minutes, depending on the grade level. Obviously, my older kids only need a minute and they can get a whole bunch of words. If I play it with my younger kids, they need a couple of minutes to come up with some words. So what I want you guys to do is, looking at your screen, I want you to try and find as many words as you can. The other challenge I give my kids is who can come up with the longest word. So sometimes they just want to come up with as many words, and sometimes they'll spend their time focusing on finding the longest word. So I'll give you guys about a minute. So I'll get my timer, and I want you guys to try and find as many words as you can with the letters that are on our Zoom screen.
Do we do letters of our own initial or letter that we chose, or everyone's letters?
You can use everyone. So for example, I see S-U-N on the board, so I would write down sun. I also see S-U-M, so I would write down some. I'll have you guys go ahead and turn your cameras back on, and then go ahead and rename yourselves back to your name. Who came up with at least 3 words? All right, who got at least 5 words? Anybody get 10 words? Ooh, we got a couple. So anybody get 15 words? Who thinks they got the longest word? I was just finding 3-letter words like sun, some, hop. So that's a fun one again. And again, you can try and have them find math related words, and you can have kids where you purposely plan it out and say, okay, Christina, your letter S, Jose, your letter B, Jason, your letter D, where you can purposely plan out to have like math related words or science related words. Or again, like I said, you can make it just random and they get to find whatever words they can find. So 2 different ways you can play Boggle. And again, doesn't take very long. So that's a good one if you're trying to break up. Like for me, I teach about an hour-long session and I teach 30 minutes of math and 30 minutes of language arts. So in between there, we'll take a brain break and we'll do a real fun game real quick just to kind of let them have some fun, make sure that they're still engaged in our virtual learning, and then can move on to more instruction. The next one, this one is Would You Rather, and the kids love Would You Rather games. So there's 2 different ways again to play this one. One way is I will make sure that you guys have access to the copy of these slides. This one again, they can use the annotate and you can play it as a presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and do present. And as the first slide comes up, it's Would you rather? And then have a pet cat or a pet dog. So you guys can use your annotation tool and you can circle cat or you can circle dog, depending on what you guys would rather. So I'll let you guys have a minute to, everybody can annotate and make a choice for would you rather have a pet cat or a pet dog? So far we have a room full of dog lovers. Yep, and I was gonna say they also have the stamp tool as an annotation. And so no cat, oh, there we go. We finally have a cat person. All right, and then on my end, I can just clear out their drawings.
So a question came up on the chat. How do we annotate?
So the only one that I have had trouble with getting kids to be able to annotate is the Google Chromebooks, which I did see that come up in chat as well. I have one student who I have not been able to figure out how to get him to annotate, and he has a Google Chromebook. The rest of them, there's 2 different ways. So at the bottom of your screen, there should be something that says view or view options. And I can't remember if it's at the bottom or the top.
Kind of
At the
depends
top.
on how people have it.
Yeah, I was going to say it depends on which device you have. If you're on an Apple device or an Android or whatever it is that you're on, but there should be something where you can click and it says view options. And then once you click on that for view options, you can scroll down and find annotate. And it usually has a little pencil. And like I said, I only have one of my students, and I know he has a Google Chromebook because I know that question was asked. And I have not, for the life of me, been able to help him, because when he goes to that exact same place, his options does not have an annotate option. So I'm thinking it maybe has to do with either his version of Zoom, which we've tried to help him update his Zoom. So you may have a couple of kiddos. If that happens, like what I have him do is he will just type it in the chat to us. And that way he's still able to participate even though he can't annotate. And some of the kids may not be able to figure out the annotate. So again, you can have them just send you a message in the chat, and that way they still get to feel like they are participating in it. So there's a whole bunch of them. Some of them we'll talk about, some of them we won't. So this one says, would you rather have someone give you $100 or would you rather give $1,000 to a charity? The next one, would you rather be a pencil or a rubber band? So some of these we'll actually spend time, and I'll give I'll give them a couple of minutes to go ahead and answer. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes, and then I'll ask for, a couple volunteers. Why would you rather be a rubber band?
I can fly if somebody shoots me.
That's a good one. Anybody else? What was another reason maybe you wanted to be a rubber band?
You can hold things together.
hold things together. The other one that I heard in my last session, why they chose rubber band, was that way they are flexible. And I liked that one. That was a good reason. Okay, anybody that said they were a pencil, why would you rather be a pencil?
If I make a mistake, we can always erase it.
Excellent. Anybody else want to share why they wanted to be a pencil?
I can write great novels.
Excellent. Yeah. Somebody else, and like I said, my last session, they said that way they could make their mark on this world. And again, I thought, wow, there's some, so your kids will sometimes have some great answers. And so this is, again, a fun way to kind of let them be able to talk about things that normally they wouldn't be able to talk about when we're focused just on academics. The second way that I play this with my kids is you have the option to, in Zoom, to be able to create a poll. Now you can create a poll before you start the Zoom, or you can actually create a poll within Zoom. Would you rather have to walk on your hands or cartwheel every time you had to go somewhere? And do that as a poll. And then I will usually set up like about 5 questions in the poll, and then I launch the poll. The kids can each choose their answer. And then what they like about the poll is when I then share the results with them, they can see, oh, we had, this many choose this and this many choose this. And then again, they can, I can call in a couple of volunteers to go ahead and share, well, why did you choose this and why did you choose that? And so they do like the poll option because it does show them, very specific, like, oh, half and half of us chose, or no, like all of us chose this option. So they like that polling of the would you rather game as well. So there's 2 different ways to play the would you rather game.
So I just launched the poll.
Okay, so she launched the poll, so you guys can go ahead and choose. You should be able to just click on it.
And in Zoom, you can do this as the host. So if it's your Zoom, then you shouldn't have a problem creating one.
Yeah, and like I said, if you even go into your Zoom meetings before you start it, there's an option down at the bottom that says add poll, and you can create the poll before you start class.
And you also have the option to keep the poll anonymous. So if your kids feel more comfortable answering that way, there's a little a little box that you can check. And then finally, it tells you how many people have taken the poll. So like right now, 27 of the 34 have taken the poll. Would you like me to end the poll?
Yeah, as I say, you can go ahead and click end and then share results. So you guys can see, 12 responses. So 41% would rather walk on their hands, and 17 or 59% would rather do cartwheels. So they also, like I said, sometimes like to see it in that option. It's fun for them. So that's playing Would You Rather. So we've got Pictionary, Boggle, and Would You Rather. The next one that I'll do with them, again, this is a super quick one, is memory. All right, so what I created this one, but the other one that I'm going to show you I actually found online. And so you can just take a real quick picture with several items that you have either around the house or, school related things. And so I'll tell them, okay, get ready. I'm going to show you a picture. And so then I'll put the picture up. I'll put a timer on for like 30 seconds. And I'll tell them, all right, try and remember as many of the objects as you can. And then take the picture away and I'll say, okay, who can remember? Tell me which items you can remember, and I'll do like a round robin, or I can even send them to breakout rooms and say, all right, which breakout room is going to come up with the most number of remembered items? So that's memory. Let me show you another one. And like I said, this one's pretty easy. You can create these on your own, or like I said, I found this picture even online just by searching memory game. And so again, they can be random things, they can be school related. Try and remember as many as you can. and then I close it out and ask them to name as many items. So that one they enjoy too. They think is, a lot of fun. And again, you can make it theme related. You can do holidays, do a lot of Valentine type things coming up for Valentine's Day. Maybe St. Patrick's Day, you try to find as many green things as you can and take a picture of them and play memory with them that way. The next one is called I Spy. So how many of you know how to change your background to a virtual background? If you do, will you mind changing yours to a virtual background? I have a school computer and for some reason mine won't let me. I don't know if I don't have the right version or it wants me to have like a green screen, so I don't. But the other, you don't have to have virtual backgrounds either. So I Spy, what I do is I'll say, I spy the Roman numeral 7. And so I'm seeing your backgrounds. And then somebody says, oh, it's in so-and-so's background. So can you guys find the Roman numeral 7?
Is it Ken?
And
Ken knew it was him too. All right. I spy the capital letter R. Can anybody find it?
Elizabeth Speck.
Yep. So that's a fun one to play. And so especially because the kids love to do the virtual backgrounds. So you can even play it with, they'll put on, like they're at different locations. So you can say, I spy someone who's at the beach. And then they can look around and find, which kiddo is at the beach, or even they like it because they usually, the kiddos, they won't be, like mine's just a plain white wall. They'll sit wherever, you see their whole house. So it's a lot of fun to play I Spy that way with them. And so again, like I can start the game off saying, I spy a bridge. And then, whoever guesses, oh, that's at Erica's house. Then that person can say, okay, they're the next one to say, I spy, and they see something in somebody's background. And what I also like about that one is it encourages the kids to turn on their cameras. Because I don't know about you, but I still have several kiddos that just don't want to have their cameras on. And it's tough. It's just like, if you were in an empty classroom and you couldn't see your students, but you had to teach them, it's hard. It's difficult to not see that facial expression. I realized how much I actually get out of being able to see my kids go, or, to be frustrated, you can see that. So if they're not turning on their cameras, it's tough. So if I have a day where I have a lot of kids that don't have their cameras on, playing I Spy is a great way because they want to play. They want to get involved. And so turning on their cameras and playing a round of I Spy will usually get them to turn on their cameras and say, oh, okay, this is a lot of fun. And let me go ahead and turn on, my camera. All right, the next one is called Magic 11, but you can play it with any number. And this one is actually taken from Kagan, which a lot of the schools are getting some Kagan professional development. It's on engagement in the classroom and their Kagan strategies or structures. And they have a whole book called Silly Games. And so this one is called Magic 11. So I'm going to ask for a few volunteers here. What I'm going to do is just the people that happen to be in my 4 squares here. So Erica, Elizabeth, and Trisha, would you guys mind playing with me? What we're going to do is we're going to say 3, 2, 1, Magic 11. So it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So instead, we're going to say 3, 2, 1, Magic 11. And we're going to hold up anywhere between 1 to 5 on our fingers. And we're trying as a group of 4 to get the number 11. Okay, so anywhere between 1 and 5, you're going to hold up that number of fingers. So we're going to say 3, 2, 1, magic 11. Okay, so we have 3 3s and a 5, too many for 11. So then we go again, and I say 3, 2, 1, magic 11. Oh, we have 8. So we go again, 3, 2, 1, magic 11. Oh, 5, 6, 7, still not there. So that's a fun one. You can change the number. You can change if you have older kids. You can, like I was adding the 4 numbers together. You could make it multiplication if you have older kids. You could change it to subtraction if you wanted. You could start, okay, we're going to start in the top left and we're going to go to the next one and we're going to subtract all the way down and we're trying to get down to 0. So let's say that we played it the first round and we did get 11, then I would tell them the next time if you get 11, you're going to go to 12. So Erica, would you mind sending us into breakout rooms of 4 to 5 or 3 to 4 if we have an odd number? And so in your breakout rooms, I want you guys to just do a couple rounds of magic 11. So you're just gonna 3, 2, 1, and put up your fingers. And what I like to do is, so they know whose turn it is to count or whose turn it is to say it, I'll tell them things like, whoever has the most letters in their first name is gonna go first. And so that will also get them started talking in their group. Or I'll say something like, whoever woke up the earliest this morning has to go first. Or whoever went to bed the latest has to go first. So just different ways. Each time I send my kids to a breakout room and I want them to all share, I'll give who's going to be kind of the group leader with one of those things. Like, whoever is wearing red today is going to go first. Okay, so let's do it. Whoever's first name starts with the letter A. And so if you don't have anything with A, then go to who starts with B and C. So whoever, you're going to go in alphabetical order with your first name. So Erica, would you send us off to breakout rooms of 4 or 5?
Yes, and so how long would you like me to open the breakout rooms?
I think a minute is fine. It's just a quick one. It's go off, play a round, play 2 rounds, and then come right back. So you guys should have an option that pops up and says join.
And if you don't see the option to join on the bottom where you have the tools, you might have to click on more or on the 3 dots and it'll give you the option to join the breakout room.
So did you guys have fun? And what I really like about it is for kids who aren't participating, for kids who, you haven't heard them talk all day, you send them off to a breakout room with their friends to play a game, they're going to be participating. And then when they come back, you're more likely to get them to participate with you and answer questions and do things like that. So that is Magic 11. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears a little bit. So most of those games still involve you sitting down, not doing much. So the other games that I've played are all things that I'm sure you guys have heard of. Charades. I was playing Pictionary with some of my kids and they said, can we do charades? And I was like, sure, why not? So again, I just Google easy charades for kids and I do it kind of the same exact way that I play Pictionary. I will start it off, and like I said, they love for me to do it. Like, they cannot wait to be the one to guess whatever action Mrs. Monroe is doing. Okay, so I just tell them, all right, first round, I'm going to go first. So I'm going to go ahead and play it with you guys. So here's my action.
Brushing your teeth.
Yeah. Exactly. So easy peasy, right? Then obviously the kiddo that guessed, they get to go next. And so again, I'll ask them, do you have something in mind that you would like to try? If they do, then I let them go ahead and go. If not, I send them that direct message in the chat and just give them an action. So we've done things like brushing our teeth. We've done things like brushing our hair. We've done things like writing a letter. We've done things like zipping your jacket or buttoning your shirt. So there's lots of easy ones. And what I also like about it is it does get a little bit of movement. So you kind of get them moving, because a lot of them, you know, sitting still for, even if we're just meeting for an hour, it's kind of tough. So we'll even do things like running, skipping, hopping, just to get them moving. A second one to get them up and moving is called freeze dance. Kind of like musical chairs, but I will just put on some, you know, kid-friendly music. We get up and we dance and we move. And then as soon as I hit pause, we have to freeze. So again, that one's a great one to use for brain breaks. You know, you see your kids kind of getting antsy, sitting, not really knowing what to do. They're kind of bored, they're zoning out. Play a real quick game of freeze dance, where, you know, you put on some music real quick and all right, everybody. And even if they're not comfortable dancing, you can say, all right, we're going to play freeze jumping, and everybody has to jump as long as the music is playing. As soon as the music stops, freeze. You can do it with jumping jacks. You can do it with running in place. Just different actions, movements, things to get them up and moving, because we know the more they're moving, we know their brains are getting that oxygen and that blood flow, and they're going to be more engaged and more ready to learn. This one is a fun one. It's called detective. So again, I'm going to have 2 people that I need as volunteers. One is going to be the detective, and one is going to be our leader. So our leader will do the actions. So let's say I was the leader. I would start to clap, and then everybody in the class is going to start to clap with me. Then I'm going to change the action, and everybody else is going to change the action. So what we do is we have a detective, and the detective is going to, so I'll pick the detective. The whole class can say, you know, oh, I want to be the detective. Do I have any volunteers to be my detective right now?
Can I send a private message to a detective? Oh, we have a detective.
Oh, yes. Tisha's going to be my detective. So then we're going to pick, yes. So Erica, if you will pick somebody to be our leader, we do want that one to be a private message. So
Okay.
what I do is I send a private message to someone in the class, and I just ask them, are you comfortable being the leader? I don't force any of my kiddos because I know they may not be comfortable. I've not so far had anybody say no, but most of the time they say yes. And so I'll send a private message and I'll say, will you be the leader? And they usually say yes. And I say, okay. So Erica, did we get somebody that agreed to be the leader? Yes or not yet?
I've asked. I'm just making sure that the leader saw the message.
Okay. So then when I know that I have my leader, I will have my detective just kind of turn their head. So you don't have to yet, Tisha. We don't have our leader yet. Do we have it, Erica?
Yes.
Okay. So then, yep, my detective is going to turn their head. All right. Our leader, go ahead and start your action.
You need to turn on your cameras for this.
Yep. Turn on your camera so that we can see you. All right, Tisha, our leader is started. So everybody's going to follow the leader. And Tisha, you're going to try and figure out who is the leader.
Nicole is the leader.
So that one is fun too, because again, we're getting them moving in some way, shape, or form, and they have to be observant. They have to watch. They have to see, oh, who's doing it first? And they love it. And like I said, that one can be one round. Like each day you can have a new detective, a new leader. You can see most of these games can be one round, or they can be multiple rounds of the same game. So depending on how much time you have, what you're wanting to use it for. Let's say it's a brain break. You may decide to just play one round of one of the games. If it's a fun Friday, like if I will tell my kids, if everybody turns all their assignments in on time, then on Friday we'll have 30 minutes of fun Friday. And then we just play games like this all Friday. If everybody, turned in all of their work, we got all the assignments done, everybody's engaged, then it's a reward time. And we can play either, 10 rounds of Pictionary, or, I'll let each kid in the class pick which game do you want to play today. Lots of different ways that you can choose to use these. All right, my last activity game is Simon Says. We all know how to play Simon Says. We pick a leader who says, I will usually, like I said, I always start the games and I'll say, Simon says, touch your ear. Simon says, touch your chin. Touch your nose. Simon didn't say, so then they're out. The other way that I play it with them is I've done it with holidays. So like in October, we all came up with different actions. So I said, Simon said, do the Frankenstein. And then we kind of acted like Frankenstein. I said, Simon said, ghost. And we all went, boo. And Simon says, I don't remember. And we did like a witch, a Frankenstein, a ghost. And then Simon says, be a ghost. Be a Frankenstein, so you can change up Simon Says, the typical game that they all know. You can make it holiday related. I've also played it with content. So I've also worked with fourth graders, and a big math concept in fourth grade is looking at angles. And so we'll review. Okay, everybody, this is an acute angle. So we're all going to make an acute angle. We're all going to make a right angle. And we're all going to make an obtuse angle. And so then I tell them the same thing. Simon says acute. Simon says obtuse. Simon says right, acute. So you can make it content or holiday related, all kinds of ways just to get them, involved, engaged, staying active with you as the teacher. And the more that they're doing those kinds of things, those content areas are going to stick, because they're going to remember, oh yeah, acute. Oh yeah, right. And we talk a little bit more about it when we're playing it. Remember, acute is less than 90. Right angle is 90. Obtuse is more than 90. So you're reinforcing the content as you're doing games with them to make it more fun for them. So those are all of my active ones. I've got a couple more left that are fun to play as kind of warm-ups. First letter, last letter. I might give a word, start simple, like I would say apple. And then the next person has to come up with a word that starts with E, because the last letter of the word I just gave was apple. It ends with E. So they're going to come up with a word that starts with E. Who can come up with a word that starts with E?
Elephant.
Elephant. All right, so that ends with T. Who can come up with a T?
Time.
Time. Okay, we have another E word.
Equation.
Equation. Now we need an N word.
Nap.
Nap. What we all need right now. A P word.
Pet.
Pet. All right, another T word.
Triumphant.
Triumphant. Now another T.
Turtle.
Turtle. All right, another E.
Evaluate.
Evaluate. Excellent. So we can, again, differentiate this in any way. We can make it where we're just giving, random words like we did. You can challenge them depending on the level and age of your kids. You can say, let's try to only use math words. You could say, let's try to only use science words. So you can change that up to make that work for you and whatever you teach or whatever you're working on with your kids. Again, it's just a fun way to do kind of a warm up. Sometimes what I'll use that one for is when I start class and I'm waiting on everybody to join. It's a way to get everybody involved in those first 2 to 3 minutes when everybody's starting to log into Zoom, so that we're not just all sitting there looking at each other, but they know that's our routine, that we start, just warming up our brains. That's what I tell them. We're warming up our brains to think about things. And so I'll start with a word and we'll just go around. Everybody gets a turn. And then also it's not something that I have to continually ask questions or anything. So while they're playing it, I can be admitting students. I can be, looking at the waiting room, checking the chat for anything, things like that. Along the same lines is the alphabet challenge. And so that one is very similar, but we go in alphabetical order. So A word, ant. Who can think of B?
Beetle.
Beetle. C.
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar. D.
Dog.
E.
Elephant.
F.
Fox.
So that's alphabet challenge. So again, it's just another way that the kiddos will start to participate while you're starting class, or, brain breaks, games, things like that. That is all of my games and different things that I have for you today. So I thank you guys for participating. I hope that you guys learned something new, and I hope you're able to take back and practice some of your games this week with your kiddos. So thank you for coming.
If you all try them and you want to share how it went, or you develop some new ones as a result of these, by all means, share them with us and we'll share them with other teachers. So I know that that's the way that teachers just are so creative, is by trying something and then changing it up, right? So,
Exactly.
thank you for being here.